Hi, Neil Gittleman here, Artistic Director and Conductor of your Dayton Philharmonic with Piano Bench Chat. I think it's number 84 for the month of February. I hope you're doing well. I'm feeling great. Thanks for all those get well wishes folks have been sending me. And I'm very excited about getting back to the podium of the Philharmonic. In fact, I'm taping this on Monday, the 6th of March. So my first rehearsal back with the orchestra is exactly 4 weeks from tonight. So I'm very excited about that. I'm also very excited to play you that little piece of music that opened the Piano Bench Chat. That's the second movement of a piano sonata by the 20th century Polish composer Grażyna Bacewicz, whose music will open the February Masterworks concert that the Dayton Philharmonic is performing, with Associate Conductor Patrick Reynolds filling in for me. Grażyna Bacewicz was, like me, a student of Nadia Boulanger in Paris, though she was not many, but quite a few generations of students in front of me. And she's an example of something we've been doing at the Philharmonic. Actually, it goes back to the fall of 2019. Even earlier than that, when we were starting to plan the 2019-2020 season, the season that got disrupted by the COVID pandemic, I decided that we really needed to spend more time and shine a more clear spotlight on music of women composers. Of course, we tend to get stuck in these little narrow lanes of music. It even goes back, the whole core of the classical music repertoire depends a lot on Bach, great composer, Haydn, great composer, Mozart, great composer, Beethoven, Brahms, Wagner, Mahler, Strauss, all composers who were German speakers from Austria or Germany. And part of that is because the study of musicology, from which analysis of classical music comes, guess where it was born? It was born in Germany. And so German scholars focused on German composers and German male composers. And so there's this false idea that music has only been written by men. Well, it's just not true. You can go all the way back as far as the 12th century. One of the first composers who we know by name was a nun by the name of Hildegard von Bingen, who wrote some of the most beautiful music you could ever hear. And you're hearing some of it in the background right now. Or you can fast forward into the Romantic era. Clara Schumann, not very well known compared to her husband Robert, but just as good, and maybe in some ways even maybe a better composer, certainly a better pianist. She was probably the greatest pianist of her time, maybe rivaled by her friend and Robert's friend, Brahms. But Clara Schumann also was a composer. And just a couple of seasons back, we played her wonderful piano concerto with one of my favorite pianists, Sarah Davis Buechner. And here's a little bit of that from our performance. And from Clara Schumann, you can fast forward just a few years to Alma Mahler, who was Gustav Mahler's wife, a composer who had been writing music before she and Mahler met. And when they married, Mahler said, "We can only have one composer in the family, and it's going to be me." And Alma stopped composing. I'm just saying, this is the way history goes. Coming to the 20th century, you have really one of the great composers of the 20th century, who unfortunately died very, very young. That was Lily Boulanger, the younger sister of my teacher and Grażyna Bacewicz's teacher, Nadia Boulanger. And it was in fact a piece of Lily Boulanger, of A Spring Morning, was the very first piece that we played in this effort, this cycle of coming back again and again to music of women composers. And so then more recently, Rina Esmail, whose music we've played a couple of times and who I've spoken about several times. Back in October, we played her gorgeous piece, Meri Saki Ki Avaz, My Sister's Voice, Just a fabulous, fabulous piece. And so we have all these composers, and for every single one of them, I could have prefaced their name by not terribly well known, but a really wonderful composer. It applies to all of them. And so the effort we're doing at the Philharmonic is to try and change that, is to help these composers, both of the present and of the past, become less unknown and more a part of our basic diet of music that we play at the orchestra and that we hear as listeners. Because as great as the music of Bach and Haydn and Mozart and Brahms and all those guys, all those German guys, there's more to it than that. There's French music, there's Russian music, there's American music, and there's music by women composers, and there's a place for it in everything that we do. So you heard a little bit of that beautiful piano sonata by Grazina Bacevich, and if you're wondering, actually what I played you there was the very beginning of the second movement and the very end of the movement. You might have noticed that little crossfade in between, and you might wonder, well, what's in between? Well, what's in between is music that's too hard for me to play, so I left it out. If you want to hear it, look it up. It's a very beautiful and wonderful piece. And we'll be playing an overture, and it's not an overture to anything, it's just called Overture by Grazina Bacevich to open our Masterworks concert. And it's as far away from that piano sonata movement as you could possibly imagine. That movement, very slow, very sweet, almost evocative of the Gymnopédies of Erik Satie, with a simple melody and slowly moving chords. Well, her overture goes like the wind. It's one of the most high energy pieces I know, and just a fabulous, fabulous piece that you probably hear sneaking up in the background. So I hope the month of February is kind to you, and I hope you fill it with music and dance. We have the fabulous 85th anniversary celebration of Dayton Ballet coming up. Some great music as well with that concert, which is all devoted to music connected with Poland. Grazina Bacevich from Poland, Chopin's Piano Concerto, another great Polish composer, and Tchaikovsky's Symphony No. 3, his Polish Symphony. This was a program I originally conceived of as a way to sort of pay tribute to the Polish side of my ancestry. My mother's side of the family came from Poland, my father's side of the family from Russia, and I've played lots of Russian pieces over the years and felt this kind of personal connection to Russian music. And I thought, you know, buddy, you're half Polish. Dig into the Polish music a little bit. So I'm having to miss this concert on the podium during my recovery from surgery, which is going really, really well. And again, thanks for all the great wishes. And I will see you in the concert hall and see you on the podium in March. And when we get into March, I'll tell you more about what's coming up there. So it's wonderful to be sharing these Piano Bench chats with you. I hope you are well. I hope you are filling your lives with music and dance. Have a great month, and I'll see you for Piano Bench chat number 85 in March. Take care.